Here is my next guest. She's a builder. Yeah, we all build homes. Yes, I know. But she builds houses, which is a big difference. We women make a home out of a house, but she builds the house itself. So I have Pushpanjali Reddy. I welcome you, Pushpa, for this show.
Thank you, Chaya.
And she is an architect and also a builder. Most architects are just architects. But she is a builder also, and also, which I will let Pushpa tell us herself. So let's start with your architecture, Pushpa. When did you do a course in it, and when was it, etc.?
That was started in 1975, and I got married in 79 itself when I was in the 4th year, and then I completed the architecture at 80, but then for 10 years I didn't work. I was very happy being a housewife.
See, that's a problem.
Very happy being a housewife, but
I mean, being a housewife is not a problem. But it's so happy to be a housewife.
I was very happy.
Isn't it?
Because I pursued a lot of hobbies like gardening, interior designing. I was very fond of that. Then I had 2 sons, busy with them, and my in-laws were there. They were not educated. They were from a rural area, so they wouldn't understand what I was doing. So there was always a tiff between the in-laws and me, because I'm from a city and they were from a rural area.
So it's not really in-laws and you, it's two cultures.
The
rural
basically,
and the...
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So I adjusted to that and I was very happy doing it. But I always had a dream.
But you had your education in architecture, right?
Yes.
But you still were happy being a housewife for 10 years.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, because I was busy 24/7. I was very fond of garden, and we stayed in, my husband was working for electricity board. So we were staying in a KB quarters with a huge space.
Terrific.
So I converted that into a beautiful garden. So I spent most of my time in the garden and taking care of my in-laws who were old. And I was really bindas. I just enjoyed it. But there was this challenge, we had a big site in Indiranagar. And I think sometimes I make fun of my husband. I married you only for the big site.
Oh, okay.
Because probably when I was maybe in my 12 or 13 years age, I dreamt of a big house. I had that vision of a beautiful house. So then to convert the dream into reality,
you had to marry a man with a site.
Yes. Okay. And it was difficult because my husband was in a government job. We couldn't offer that kind of money for the dream to come into reality. And I don't know what I was going to do. Then something clicked and I had to sell all my jewelry to make that house.
Okay.
Something happened and I started it. And it turned out so beautiful. And of course, there was a lot of oppositions from everybody because I was building the house, which is today it's about 7,000 square feet. It's been slowly being adding up.
You designed the house yourself?
And built it
and
brick
you
by
built
brick.
it yourself?
Yes, brick by brick. Because...
Which means you hired labor
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why I had to do that was, I always say, beggars can't be choosers.
Okay.
I didn't have the money.
I don't think with 7,000 square feet you're a beggar.
Not now, those days.
Whatever.
Yeah. So when I started I asked my husband, I want to build this house. He said, I don't have money.
Okay.
So you do what you want. So I sold my first jewelry and I started it on 1989. It was a Ganesha festival day.
Okay.
We just did a very, very simple puja and started. And then everybody told my husband, oh, you're giving it to her. She's very young. She's just out of college and she's going to bring you to the streets.
Okay.
You're trusting her. So every day my husband and me will have a tiff. Somehow we started it. And slowly, one by one, my jewelry went into the shape of a building.
Okay.
It got converted into the form of bricks and stones and mortar and things like that.
Don't you think it's better than to just wear it around and chain snatching and all kinds of
Today,
dangers?
I think the house is worth 100 times the jewelry that I had.
How did she have the heart as a woman to sell her jewelry of all things? So you just keep it away in a locker. Instead of that, you build a house.
Yes.
Great idea.
Yeah. Even that was not enough. Then as it started shaping, my husband got a loan from his department, from the KB, which was very minuscule, very, very little.
But why didn't you think of building within the amount you had?
It was building within that.
Okay.
But, I didn't want to go for a conventional house.
Okay.
just the brick and the plaster. So what I did was, I started with the low-cost housing, like making the bricks, mud blocks at our own site, from the mud excavated from our foundation.
Okay.
But then, that soil wasn't that good. We needed soil from outside.
Okay.
So, imagine, I had only a small two-wheeler, a sportive, which is no more in the market now. I had to take that, go to the outskirts. See, Indiranagar was almost outskirts 24 years back.
Yes.
This was built about 24 years back. So, I used to go to the old Madras Road, stand there near the lorries. I was a young girl, stand there with a two-wheeler, asking them to sell me the red soil.
Okay.
We needed red soil, loam soil for these blocks. And it was dangerous.
They must
And
have given you a
everybody
dirty
said,
look.
Yeah, dirty looks. And even I felt, but my dream was so strong. I didn't mind all that. Then everybody started making fun because I was staying in KB quarters. I was surrounded by all this kind of men and women. They said, oh, Reddy's wife, she's going to bring Reddy to the streets. What is this? She digs a well when her house is on fire. So now she goes in search of red earth for the blocks when the house is almost ready. The foundation is ready and the house has to come up. So I still didn't give up. Then the blocks were not sufficient. So then the idea that hit upon me was, let's build it with stones.
Okay.
So I started with stones.
1 minute. Don't you build a house with bricks only?
Yeah. But
Then how was yours different in the sense?
that's what I wanted it to be, totally different. I didn't want a regular house. So then I started
building with stones.
Yeah. The first lot of stones that I purchased was about 50 paisa per stone. Then gradually it went to 150 rupees by the time it was summer. And we started, and almost the building was getting ready. Then it was a very peculiar house with a basement. So the men around that area, they would just go for a walk. They'll come down and they'll ask me, what are you doing here? Isn't the house so funny? Oh, the house will get flooded. You got a basement. So there were so many curious questions, and people would taunt me. And they would always tell my husband, oh, she's so little. What will she do? Why have you trusted her and entrusted the whole thing into her hands? I think you should take over. But he was busy in his own organization. He had no time and he didn't understand what I was doing. Even he was not happy what I was doing. But then, once the first centering was removed, people came and they said, wow, what a house.
Okay.
Then, after that, I didn't have money for flooring. So what do? I didn't want to go
But all this time you were living in the KB quarters.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So my kids were studying NPS. And I didn't know what to do because I didn't want mosaics, because that's a normal everybody uses. Marble was out of my reach, and somehow marble reminds me of tombs, the Taj Mahal. So I didn't want marble. The next thing was, the idea hit upon me. Let's go with Kadapa slab.
Okay.
Everybody said, Kadapa slab? That's done only in the villages. And it's black. It's a bad omen. You can't do it.
Okay.
But as I told you, beggars can't be choosers. I convinced my husband. We went for black Kadapa. It turned out beautiful. Only thing is, for about 2 to 3 months after we moved into the house, our hands and feet would be black because of the polish.
Is it? But do you have to polish the Kadapa? I thought it had its own.
I did it to make it look good. So it started looking like black granite. And then somebody came from the TV, some Kannada serial.
Okay.
I think it was somebody with Sundar Krishna Aris or somebody. That group, they said they would like to take a TV serial in my house. I said, fine, please do it.
Good for you.
Yeah. And they did it. I gave it free, of course, because I'm never for money.
Yeah, but then you needed money to build your floors.
Yeah, but I've done it. Okay. I've done it. By the time I did the house, completed the house, I didn't even have a single penny, even to have the housewarming. Which even till today my husband blames me. He said, oh, I didn't invite all my friends for lunch. But we didn't have the money, so we didn't do it. Even with that, I said, no, it's a service. So let them do it. So, and when the TV serial came, I was away in Mysore attending somebody's wedding or something. And there, everybody started calling me and asking, we see your house on the TV. It's so beautiful. And what they said was, even people who said, oh, she's going to bring Reddy to the streets and she's not going to complete the house. Everybody said, wow, you've achieved it. You've done it.
So that was your first house that you built.
Yes.
Your own
Then-
house.
Then I decided
Hmm.
it is so difficult to build a house, and I did it with so much of difficulty. So I decided now I'm going to dedicate myself for the youngsters who want to make houses. I'm going to help them do the low-cost housing, how it has to be done. And so I was doing a lot of houses at ISRO layout, and so many houses I was doing.
Mhm.
Then my structural engineer and his friend, they came to me and they said they would like to work with me, and they were out of job. So we decided what to do. When I hit upon an idea, let's build apartments.
Okay.
So that's how the apartments came. Not just for me, just for the two boys who came to me unemployed.
Mhm.
So I said, let's do it. Again, I have no money. So that's how, but when you have a will, the money
It
just comes.
happens.
The money just comes.
Okay.
And people would come because seeing the big house in one of the best locations, people would just come to me, and that became a model house.
Mhm.
And you can say that was an advertisement, even though I didn't advertise. That became an advertisement. And then slowly I started building apartments, which was not an easy job. It was not an easy job because I would be threatened by the neighbors, the gunda. Sometimes somebody has come and kept a pistol on my table
Why?
because he wanted all the money in cash. He didn't want in checks.
Who's the...
This is one of the landowner who sold a land to me.
Okay, so first you have to buy the land and
Yes. No, one of the thing was it was a joint venture. It was a joint venture
with the landowner.
with the landowner.
Okay.
So once I realized that he was not a very amicable person, at least I could deal because I was already in a man's shoes and I knew how to tackle all these guys. But most of my buyers were in the age group of 25 to 27, all from different parts of India, mostly from the north. And they didn't have the courage or the guts to face this kind of guys. Suppose I give, say, about 40% of flats to this guy, the 60% I've sold, he may trouble these guys. So what I did was I bought back the flats at an X price.
From him.
Yeah, from him. And I told him I cannot pay you upfront, so I'll give you monthly checks. So the checks were given, and he encashed the checks as long as he wanted the white. Then he wanted everything in cash.
Okay.
But
You don't have that.
no, I don't have the cash because I was dead against paying bribes and taking cash from anybody. I did a clean job. And then this guy came and he said, I had just come from US and gone to see my younger son. Just come back, totally down with jet lag. He says, no, madam is there at home. Bring her out. So I had to come in that groggy. I walked down to my basement where my office was. I came and he kept the pistol and he says, I want only money. I said, look here, I'm not scared of all these things. If I was scared of this gun, I wouldn't have been in this business. So somehow I managed it. I had to draw the checks, whatever I had given to him, and give him the cash. I don't know how he accounted it. That's how I could, but that's the only best way I could do. And then till 2005, I was building. Then I was down with something called fibromyalgia, which is, according to the doctors, they don't know the cause or the cure for it. For 1.5 years, I was suffering without knowing what I was going through.
Okay.
If I go to the doctors, they would laugh at me. They would put me onto various tests. They would laugh at me. And for 6 months, I couldn't sleep. Pop any number of sleeping pills, I couldn't sleep. Then I decided, this is it. Enough. By then, my sons were settled. I had done everything in my life, what I had to achieve. I had built a beautiful house. I had given jobs to many of them, homes to many of them. I had built by then 6 apartments. And I was very happy with what I had done. And I decided, okay, let me take a little relax now. Then, in the month of March 2005, there is a doctor, he diagnosed this as fibromyalgia. He says, there's no cure for it, but you got to, treat yourself, go to physiotherapies or myotherapies. And so I was put on that, and then it was not that easy coming out from that because the whole body would be paining, the whole body would go into spasm. So it was very difficult, but I came out of that also. Then I decided that I'll start running.
You'll start running. Okay.
So 2009, I started slowly running, and My knee started hurting then. And I went to the doctor. He said, no, you can't run.
Yeah.
You have to change your profession. You can't climb stairs. You shift your room from top to the ground floor. I said, no, I can't do that. And for so many years, I've been practicing an architect and I can't change my profession. Then he said, okay, then you got to bear it. And no running, he said. Still, I said, no, I'm going to do it. So I wore kneecaps. 2009, my first marathon, 10K, Sun Feast. I went to the Canterbury Stadium and the warm-up started. I just couldn't lift my legs.
Why do you do things like this?
I think I told you, I like to challenges in my life.
Okay, all right.
Then after that, I went to my trainer, Bidu sir. I said, sir, I can't run. He just said, it's all in your mind.
Okay.
So I don't know what got into me. I started running. And when I finished, according to me, I'd finished at 1 hour, 25 minutes. And immediately I sent a message to my son in Bombay. I finished. He said, Ma, you're awesome. Then after that, for 3 to 4 weeks, it was hell. Every day I had to go for therapies. It was very painful. But one day, in that pain, I got a sunshine. Got a call from Bombay asking for my age proof.
Okay.
I said, why do you want it? She said, you have got 3rd prize in your age group.
In the marathon? Good for you. Okay.
So I was so thrilled. I went and told the doctor, you told me not to run.
And look what I did.
And I came 3rd, and that was my first run after so many of my school days, so many years of school days. Then that was so wonderful. I started running. I started doing all those things. Then after some time, I fell sick with some other ailment. I had to go for a surgery. It was just terrible. It is really foolish of me. And even the doctors were wonderstruck how I could bear so much pain. And then I decided that day, okay, enough is enough. Now I'm not going to work at all. So let me relax. So I was in bed for 3 months.
Okay.
And that ailment, I didn't want to go to a male surgeon. We still have the stigma, we Indian women. So I wanted only a lady surgeon. So I went looking for a lady surgeon. It was so difficult to find a lady surgeon. And people said, oh, no, lady surgeons are not good because they're not so deft, because they don't do so many surgeries as men.
That is true, perhaps.
So I think we shouldn't go. But I was bent upon going only to a lady surgeon. I found one. So in this 3 months, when I was in bed...
Who's this lady surgeon you went?
Dr. Preeti Hiremat.
Okay. She's here
there
in Bangalore?
Okay. Yeah, she's there. So then I hit upon one day, on the 3 months when I was just resting, one day I was just driving. Then I suddenly hit upon an idea. I'm an educated woman, brought up in Bangalore. Little bit of technology, I know. Even for me, if it is so difficult to find a lady surgeon, how it must be for the other women, I thought. And I hit upon the book, De facto.
Okay.
That also I didn't want to do. I thought, let some youngsters do it. Anyway, I'm well settled. So I told one couple of young girls to do it. They just sat with the idea. Then I said, aren't you girls doing it? They said, no, auntie, it's so difficult. Where do you get all those details and things like that? I said, fine, let me do it myself. So I went to different women. I met you too.
Yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah, but when I started going to the women, everybody thought that it was a business, that I was after money. I told them, no, it's not business. I just want to do.
You want to put together a database
so that
of women doing different things.
Women.
Yes.
This is a ready reckoner for women. And so I was a little depressed. And one day I went to Times of India, and one of my clients' father-in-law was the editor of Times of India. And I was talking to him, and he said, what are you doing? I said, this is what I do. And we were just talking, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to do this book, and no women are coming forward. And he said, no, let's interview you. So immediately I was taken. I was not even prepared. So the interview was done. Then I didn't know. I thought they were just taken the interview. Next day morning, around 6:30, I get a call. They said, Pushpa, it's nice to see you in the newspapers. So I didn't know what was happening. So I ran down. I asked my husband, have you seen the newspaper? He said, the newspaper hasn't come yet. So I went outside. I saw the newspaper. And there I was on the second page in the Sunshine column. And it was beautifully written. And the photograph also was very nice. I told the photographer, you better see that my photograph comes out well.
Okay.
And it was Hari who took the photograph. And then a number of calls came that day.
They themselves wanting to be there.
Every woman wanted to be in the book. then that was again a 1.5 years journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't manage it. I did it. It was wonderful knowing so many women, especially the veterinary doctor Sakubai Ramachandran, who is 83 or 84 now.
Mm-hmm.
She was the first veterinary doctor of India
Okay.
when women didn't even go to school.
And is this book only about the women database in Bangalore?
Right now. It's
Right
only
now.
in Bangalore,
Okay.
yeah.
It would be really useful, like you said, a ready reckoner.
Yeah, it is a ready reckoner. And also in the first de facto, I've talked about 70 women, women achievers,
Okay.
who broke the barriers,
Oh, you're talking about women who broke barriers?
Yeah.
Not so much about those who are available for this or
Even
that.
that's there. Even that's there.
Even
The first
that's
few
there.
pages are about the women who broke the barrier
Okay.
and the women who broke the barrier for the first time. They're the first pilots, the first veterinary doctor, the first lady surgeon.
Okay.
So there, it's a talk, and also the women who gone into the men's shoes, like the Mahuts, the Panditan. So
You mean there's a lady Mahut?
yes,
Is she in this book?
yes,
Lovely. I'd love to have her on my show.
yeah, yes. I think you should. Yeah.
Okay.
You
I'm
should.
going to use that as a ready reckoner,
I think
Pushpa. and
you'll
get-
really love it. You'll really.
Yeah,
love it.
I know it. I've got a copy
Yes.
of it too.
Actually, when I started writing, and see, this was written and published by me, collected.
Okay.
I can't say I've written it. It's
It's
collection. It's a
collection.
collection, and published it myself. Even though I was not a publisher, I took the courage to do it because I didn't have the money to go to a publisher. It's my money that I've spent, except I think 2 or 3 advertisements I got. Other than that, it was all my money, and I didn't expect anything in return. It was just that a service to the womanhood that I did. Then, as I was doing this, I was still feeling bored, and I still think I'm always very strong. I don't think I grow old anytime.
Okay.
So, I got an idea of, and when I was building my apartments in 2004, I always liked to do something non-conventional. I went into the venture of UPVC windows. Probably I was the first builder to go into UPVC windows, a small builder,
Okay.
going into expensive UPVC windows.
Okay. Tell us about this.
It's a
UPVC.
plastic window, unplasticized polyvinyl chloride window, which is soundproof, green material, and it's really a beautiful material. It's a little expensive, and a substitute to wood,
Okay.
and far, far superior to aluminium. It is almost soundproof. You can't say totally it's soundproof. To some extent, it's soundproof. It's a wonderful material. So I got that from Fenister. Actually, I kept bugging them even when they were in the north that please send me a sample. And then when they came to Bangalore, I was one of the first client. And the man who came to me with the windows, he's my partner today.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you set up a facility to make them yourself.
yeah, no. I think first thing was I normally complete my apartments in 14 to 15 months. And I even tell my buyers, so I'll give you the position on this day. You can even notify your landlords. This time in 2005, I told them I'll hand over in end of October. November 2nd was Diwali day. These guys didn't give me windows.
Oh.
They would keep telling me lies. Oh, it's raining. This route is blocked. That route is blocked. There were so many lies and so many lies. And that was the onset of my fibromyalgia. I couldn't move. I would go in the car, sleep on the back seat, and still supervise the site. And the window guys saw me. I would sleep in the car and get the work done. But I had wonderful buyers, all those young guys, most of them for Bits Pilani. Lovely, wonderful batch that was. They cooperated with me. Then I challenged with them. I'm going to start my own UPVC unit. That's how I started this. And just, it was difficult. I got the machines first from Turkey, then from China. And now I have one more from Italy. And of course, now it has expanded a lot. When I started this, again, single-handed, somebody came and told me, do you know, Mrs. Reddy, that you are the only woman in India to run this industry? I was so happy, so happy. Then I went into
By now you must have become used to being the only woman doing this or that.
Yeah. Yes. I got used to.
Yeah.
Then people started coming to me, and that's how now we expanded. I merged with another bigger company called Zen Building Solutions. As I told you, the guy who came to sell me
He became
the windows,
your partner.
he's become my partner now. So things are doing very well. But it was always a challenge. I took a challenge and I fulfilled it. It was not a cakewalk, but I did it. Especially the industry was really, really difficult. Every day I had to travel from Indiranagar to Yeshwantpur. And I don't
Why
like having a
Yeshwantpur?
driver.
That's where your facility is. Okay.
And I don't like to have a driver. I feel when I have a driver, my reflexes will come down. And I feel that I'm suddenly going to grow old. So I would like to do it myself.
Do it yourself.
That's only because of my fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is one thing which I have to... Actually, I have a friend called Samya. She always says, Pushpa, you should write a book on how you overcome fibromyalgia.
I've never heard of this before.
I think you should Google and see. It's a Google and see.
Okay, what is it? But
the muscles go into spasm.
Okay, without any reason on its own.
Yeah. They don't know the reason.
And does it go into spasm all the time, or it is particular time?
It's we have this 24/7 pain.
Oh, okay.
24/7 pain, and you get into depressions. You have so many ailments due to that. It's a syndrome. You can't even call it a disease. It's a syndrome.
Okay.
Of course, you got to Google it to see what it is. I have a niece in US who is having this since 15 years.
But it doesn't come in the way of your whatever you're doing. You did it in spite of it, right?
Yeah, because I told you, it became part of my life.
You
like my breathing.
Yeah,
like
you
my
accept
breathing.
it and you work around it.
Yes. Initially, I would pop a painkiller. But then I decided, no, I will not take a painkiller. I will not depend on that. So I started exercising, going to yoga, and taking the foods that nullify the effects. So like this, I started doing it. And I think
there are ways of sidewalking all this, right?
Yes.
Anything that you have, if it's something that you have to live with.
Yes. Yes. It's like our breath. You can't live without your breath. The pain doesn't leave you, but it goes parallelly with you in your life. So you got to accept it. It comes with you all the time.
Yeah, it goes wherever you go.
Yes.
You can't run away from yourself.
Yes. It was difficult, but I think I did it.
You don't build anymore?
Only small houses. Recently, I built a house for somebody and it turned out so beautiful. He gifted me a nano car.
Good for you. Apart from the payment that he does for you.
Yes.
Okay. Do they
and my clients are so happy with me. They come back to me again and again. And they wait for me. Even if I say I'm busy, they wait for me.
What is it? What is that Pushpa magic that happens when you build?
I think I'm emotionally attached to the buildings or the work that I do. And I don't build houses. I build homes.
Okay.
I build homes. And when a client comes to me, I tell him, no, I don't want you to come alone. Come with your family. Because you are there at office most of the time. But it's your wife and kids who are going to stay at home. So I want the feedback first from them.
And it's all like customized.
Yes, totally.
According to the family that you're building it for.
Even in my apartments, I would let my buyers decide what they wanted. I gave them the liberty. And of course, I'm emotionally attached to my buildings. Very, very emotionally. See, I don't work for money at all.
But it comes, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It does come. Yes.
That's one thing about money. If you don't run after it, it'll come to you.
Yes.
Because then you don't compromise.
Yeah.
No, when you run after money, you compromise your values. You take a shortcut here and there.
That was one of the reasons why I stopped building apartments. Because the bribe was rampant.
Bribe to whom?
Any organization. You take plan sanction, you take registration.
Which means for all the licensing authorities.
Everything. Licensing.
Which is all government.
Yes. And the neighbors.
Why
Sometimes
neighbors?
the neighbors also.
Why neighbors?
Suppose I have just left 3 feet instead of 4 feet.
Okay.
The guy says, no, you have left less. They would demand money. They would go to the cops. I've got a police station alone many times. They would go.
But why would you do something like that? Why don't you leave 4 and then do?
Even suppose you leave 4, they would want 5. See, it is very difficult to please the neighbors.
But isn't there a rule by the BM, whatever, the corporation or something?
Yes.
So where do the neighbors have a say in it?
Sometimes what happens is you get the scaffolding, when the scaffolding is required for the plastering and other things. Sometimes you have to use the neighbor's plot.
Okay.
And in such cases, they wouldn't allow us. They demand huge money.
Oh, so it's not only the government which is corrupt, even ordinary citizens are corrupt?
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Once in 1995, when I started first my apartment, that was the first apartment, there was a clash between my workers and the local villagers for just water.
Okay.
We had a borewell which had good water. Some of the villages have come and asked water. These guys were drunk. My workers were drunk in the evening. They said they won't give. And there was a little clash. And the next moment, the whole village, people from the village they came armed to hit my people. So everything was deserted for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Almost 1 to 2 weeks. The whole site was deserted. Imagine in 1995, my site had materials worth more than 2 to 3 lakhs. We just had to desert everything and run away from there. Then there was a local person. We had to interact with him. He came to a compromise.
And you had to feed him for doing this?
To some extent.
Yeah,
but I think that was worth it.
Okay. But still, the question is here.
No, he was the one who sold the land to us. So he did help us a lot. And see, that's how it is. It was so difficult for us. But thank God I had the right people who protected me and who helped me solve that problem. So there are many things. Because in 95, not many builders were there. Not many builders. I was a weaker sex. So that way it was very, very difficult. But I think if you have the will, everything can be done. But one thing that I didn't like in this building line was the bribes.
I was going to talk to you about that.
That was terrible. So I decided, no, this is not for people like us, honest people like us.
Yeah.
It's only for people who...
And there's a lot of parallel economy in building industry also, isn't it?
No, Chaya. Actually, if you really want to give good quality work, the profit margin is very, very minimal.
Okay. So that's the reason why they compromise on it.
Yeah, of course.
Cut corners.
And
that's give false promises to the buyers.
And also see what happens is these days, especially when you go into JD, you get into a joint development. Initially, everything is very nice, beautiful.
Shake hands, beautiful.
Yes, everything is
Banto
fine.
sweets and everything.
Then the landlord tells his own siblings,
come and
come
and bother us.
Now go bother the builder, saying that we also have a share in this.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't go through all that. But I have seen many of the builders who have these problems. Now, one of my land itself I've given for joint venture. But it's really wonderful. My builder is a wonderful person. He's stuck to his promise. He's done everything. I'm very happy with it. But to find such builders also is very difficult. And small builders, I always feel it's sad for the small builders because everybody thinks builders make a lot of money. It's not true. It's not true because everywhere you have to give bribes. Everywhere. But I refuse to pay bribes. I even recorded especially when I went for some licenses. I even recorded when they asked me for bribes. I've recorded and I blackmailed them. Then my husband said, "Are you crazy? You can't fight the system alone." But then, then I had to ask somebody else to go pay bribe on my behalf.
You have a hatchet person. All right.
Because I'd already sold the flats. The people are staying there. And if you can't get the licenses, my buyers are going to be the sufferers. See, when you have a commitment, so you got to fulfill the commitment. So that in that case, I have to go pay the bribe. Then that's the time I started getting really vexed. I said, being honest is not good for this building industry. You can't. You got to grease so many people. You got to tell lies, which I just couldn't. So in 2005, the moment I had this fibromyalgia syndrome,
that was a good excuse
and
to walk out.
Also there were a lot of new changes coming up in the law, which was difficult for us to get the sanctions and other things. Then I said, no, this is it.
What are the problems that came up?
Those
changes,
days,
I mean.
Yeah, there were some changes, I don't exactly remember. This started in 2005. I think all the CMC and the Gram Tanas were taken over by BBMP.
Okay.
And they were not sanctioning the plans. And that was the time I had already designed one of my apartment. I was almost going to build. And that's the time I had all these problems. They wouldn't take the taxes. They said, you've got betterment charges and things were there. And then I said, this line is not for me. I cannot be crooked. I cannot pay bribes. And that's the time I said, let me just quit this. And I'm very happy doing that. But I still have a passion for it. Now the one that my builder is doing, my block, whichever this thing I got, the flats I've got, I'm doing it them myself. At least the interiors, the tiling and other things.
Okay.
So The passion is still there. I still run around and I'm doing it.
But you're focusing mostly on the window production, manufacture.
Yes. I was. Now since...
Even that you've taken
No, I'm
back
not,
seat.
because I've merged with another company now.
Okay.
So I've given them the headache.
So
I
what
just
is
am
the
the
challenge now you are dealing with now? Or rather creating it?
No, I'm looking
You're
for new
creating a
ones.
challenge
Yeah.
now.
No, I'm starting. I'm not going. It's not the end of life.
Yeah, surely.
I'm going to do, because last year I traveled almost 6-7 countries in a year. Again, this year I'm going to do that. And the de facto will start now, because all this while I didn't have time. And there are new challenges which I think will just drop down, like the apple, Newton's apple. So I think it's not the end.
I want to ask you something else, Pushpa, about land. When you want to buy land, everybody warns you from buying the land because there'll be 10 people who own the kata for the land, isn't it?
Why 10 people?
20 people.
Oh, that is in a flat. In a flat?
Not a flat. If you want to build a house and you buy land, to say that the whole thing is so murky today that there'll be 10 people with a khata for that land. So be very careful where you buy land. Is that so?
Yes. See, what happens is the greedy landowners, they sell the same land to 5
that's what I meant.
Yeah. One of my friend who bought a flat in somewhere Electronic City, she's in US. No, I think she's in England. She bought a flat and she'd almost paid 90%. Even till today, the flat is not ready. It's almost 6 years up. Even today, the flat
is there a pecuniary, a penalty for them for doing it? Is there some way that you can get back your money or do you have to just grin and bear it?
Grin and bear it. And she's not even got the flat. Leave alone getting her money back. She's not even got the flat.
And what does the builder say?
The builder is in problems. He's in total problems.
And the other thing is they promise you, we'll give you this and we'll give you that, and nothing happens.
So most of the time, the builders do give it. But
they are the builders who are big time, whose name is big.
No, I don't think the people with the name also deliver. No,
really?
No, it is not. It is not. It's not. But also, let me tell you, Chaya, if you're nice to your buyers, you tell them, okay, you choose what you want. They want more and more. See, suppose I give them 22 karat gold, they say, oh, Mrs. Reddy hasn't given me 24 karat gold. So even their wants are too many.
But you negotiate all that in the beginning. So there's no conflict about it. You know what I'm trying to say is, see, Pushpa, the whole thing is so transparent. Okay, you want to build. This is the area you want to build.
Right.
This is the kind of infrastructure you want. This is how it's going to cost. Finished. So where should there be a conflict after that? Give me more, I give you less. Why? Why can't we be honest about it and give you what I have promised?
Let me tell you something. The builder starts the construction. The prices go up. But where does he transfer the...
But don't you build in an inflation thing there in it? Clause in it?
Sometimes it goes...
Escalation cost, I think
sometimes it goes beyond.
Okay.
And as he starts building, he starts becoming greedier.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Not all of them. Sometimes people are helpless. Sometimes he becomes greedier. And also, the fault lies within us also. As we see the flat coming up, we want more and more. We want the changes. We want the changes. Yeah. So what happens? People just say, okay, I want this wall removed or I want this wall built. They think that, oh, after all, it's just a wall removal.
All you do is break it and put another
but what
one.
happens is the labor involved.
Yes.
Right? And the labor these days. See, I feel really sad for the labor class.
Okay, I want to ask you that also.
Because,
right,
see, the bus fare is 55 rupees. The bus pass.
Okay.
So, he has to leave the house by 6 o'clock.
But normally they stay on the site itself.
Not always, right? That's only the big builders. And there again, that's again a mafia. These big builders, they pay the family there in whichever place they bring them. They bring them here and they're totally kept. And I don't know whether the money goes to them or not. There are a lot of problems even with the labor class. And they're never sent home. Or even if you give them extra, they run away home. It's not just the builder who suffers or the laborer suffering. It's everybody who suffers. So
it's not a win-win situation.
It's not.
But still there are so many sprouting up all over the city.
See, everybody thinks that, oh, let me make a building and I'm going to become rich. It's not so. What I tell everybody is, if you want to build something nice so that people remember. See, the money that you get, you lose. You lose in gambling or you go buy another land and that land you may have some problems. Things like that happen. But the happiness that you give to your clients is more important.
Oh, yeah. That's a philosophical thing. I don't know how many of them really would be. And Pushpa, another thing I've noticed is when you're traveling all around Bangalore city here, there are lots of apartments which is just locked up. Yeah. What is that for? And still there is an abhav for dwelling places.
That's probably, people have taken on investments.
That's all. And they just lock it up and keep it. Yes. Is this investment really, is it a notional increase of...
No. Anytime investing in a house and a land is always a good investment.
Okay, but only when you sell it and when you put it out in the market, then you get the money. Then it's called return on investment.
There are some guys who have sold the lands. They have so much money, they don't know what to do.
That is a different kind altogether. I'm talking about those who built the apartment or they buy the apartment. Okay?
Yeah. And they give it on rent. They give it on rent.
No, they don't even give it on rent. They just lock it up and keep it and say, we want it on for investment.
Okay, they sell it after 3 years.
All right. But now, after 3 years, do you get the money that you expected you were going to get?
Oh, yes.
Because now I hear the bubble has burst and...
No.
Not really?
No, not at all.
If you want to go and buy it, it's expensive. But if you want to sell it, they'll say, oh, now the slump has happened.
No, not at all. No, there's no slump. No. Actually, it's picking up.
But there was a slump.
It is. It's
an up and down.
It's an up and down. Slides up and slides down. You got to be. It's a bullish market. You got to be ready for everything. It's a bullish market. It's like our gold.
So tell me, in which span of time, right from the time you got married and you got this wonderful dream of having a house?
The dream was when I was a kid.
Okay. All right.
So that has nothing to do with my architecture.
All right.
I've dreamt that I need I had a vision that I need a house like that, and it's exactly built the same way. It has nothing to do with my architecture at all.
All right. So from the time you got married till today, it's about 25 years?
No. 33 years.
33 years.
Yeah.
So all this that you did is in the last 33 years?
No.
Not? No. 10 years after the kids, you didn't do anything?
No, you can say from 1989. That's the time I started my house. And then I started working also only then because of want of money. Mm-hmm. Every Saturday...
You have to pay their...
It was such a scary
labor.
Thing for me. Yeah. We had to pay labor.
Okay.
You can postpone for one day. But Sunday morning you have to give because they are dependent on me.
Yes, to go and drink with that money.
Drink or buy groceries and give it to the wife so she cooks your meal for you.
Okay.
It was that which made me work.
What did you work as?
I went and joined a small company. Actually, my husband said, no, you can't work. But then I said, I was doing a small interior design course. Mm-hmm. I just told my husband, no, to take the exam, I need to work as an intern. He said, okay, go. So I went and joined very close by, just 2-3 roads away from my quarters. I went and took up a job. And he said, okay, fine, you can work for me. And he paid me $1,200
a month.
Per month.
And that sufficed for paying your labor?
I think, see, everything counted. Every penny counts when you want the money. So, after 1 month, he liked my job so much. You won't believe, Chaya.
He increased your salary?
He increased my salary to 8,000 rupees.
Okay.
In 1 month. But I was so hardworking because he increased my salary that much. I would go at 8 in the morning after dropping my kids to school. Go, open the office myself, work, then come back, take time at 12 o'clock, bring kids home, feed them, put them to sleep, again go back. Then again I take break at 3:34, come home, give snacks to my kids.
And then
let
go
them
back
play
again?
in the garden and then again go back and I would finish my work at 8 o'clock and come back.
They say in Hindi, तुम किस मिट्टी से बनी हो?
Yeah.
Out of what clay have you been made?
I understand, yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have to say as a parting shot to Pushpa. What clay is she made of? God made a mold like Pushpa and then he threw it out and that's it.
Yeah, my husband, even today, he asked me, why do you work so much? For what?
For the fun of it?
I don't know. I think I'm driven by work. See, the house that I stay in, I don't have a maid.
And Pushpa, then we'll have to do another episode.
I have only a boy who comes and does on Sundays.
That.
Yes.
Isn't it?
And I have a huge collection of artifacts.
And you dust them?
Yeah, I have to dust them. And I'm perfectionist. I want everything clean, spick and span. And right from cleaning the bathrooms to including my gardening.
You do everything yourself?
Cooking, driving to all the places. And
Traveling.
anybody, I travel abroad.
Yeah.
And anybody comes and asks me for help, I never say no. I'm always there. Recently, my friend came and I met her after a long time. And she says, Pushpa, why are you always so busy? Why can't you say no to people?
You don't know how to say no.
I said, I just asked her, why should I say no? They're all my friends. Suppose you come and ask me something. If I say no, will you like it?
No, if you had said, no, I can't come for this recording, I would feel very, very upset.
Yeah.
I'm very glad you said yes.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's why
glad
I
you
said,
came today for friendship's sake.
Yeah.
And let others know about Kis Mitti Se Bani Hai Pushpanjali Reddy.